Welcome to the Deal News Seller's Guide. Today, we'll be talking about supply chain challenges. What's causing these issues, and how can marketplace sellers manage them, especially with the holiday season looming? Deal News last visited the potential for supply chain issues and how to prepare for them in March 2020, at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. The world of 2021 feels like an entirely different place, and most consumers have newfound compassion and understanding for what businesses are going through. But it doesn't mitigate the loss of income or sleep for many business owners. Dealing with supply chain challenges has become par for the course in many sellers' cases. But why? What's causing these extreme complications both globally and domestically? And what can you, as a marketplace seller, do to stay afloat despite them? Let's talk about 6 ways to deal with supply chain issues in 2021. First, make sure you monitor inventory closely. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, domestic supply chain shortages and interruptions are largely due to rapid fluctuations in supply and demand. Inventory to sales ratios rocketed up at the beginning of the pandemic when businesses couldn't sell their merchandise. The pendulum has swung in the opposite direction at this point, however. Now, businesses can't keep enough merchandise in stock. For example, in February 2020, retailers carried 43 days of inventory on average. Today, the average hovers around 33 days worth. Another way to work around supply chain challenges is to stock up strategically. Low inventory is only one of the problems wreaking havoc on supply chains. A growing demand has caused prices to increase, leaving some struggling businesses behind. Factories are still playing catch-up after closures during COVID-19 surges, meanwhile. What's more, shipping container shortages and limited air freight capacity are slowing down shipping and lending themselves to 2021's supply chain challenges. Your best bet is to be cautious about purchasing too much inventory, or waiting for your stock to dwindle too low. Keep a reasonable amount on hand, as long as you have the ability to do so, and you should be able to weather some supply chain issues. Our third recommendation today is to beware of smaller staffs. Yes, we're talking about the labor shortage. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 9.3 million jobs had opened up by the end of April. But numbers from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention show that only 51% of Americans are fully vaccinated. Add that to the ongoing fears of COVID-19 and the ending of certain government benefits, and it makes sense that the job market is unstable. Many American workers are questioning what they want from a job, and businesses across industries are reporting difficulties in staffing as a result. These labor shortages can result in a myriad of issues at every stage of the supply chain. Retailers may find it harder to put physical stock on shelves due to a lack of workers available to do so. And manufacturers may have trouble filling orders, not because the products aren't there, but because they don't have the physical labor required to do the job. These are important factors to keep in mind when managing your own inventory, as they could delay receiving replenishments. So, what else can marketplace sellers do to protect their businesses and manage these supply chain issues, especially with the holiday season looming? Lessons from Amazon Prime Day 2021 might be the best indicator of how to move forward. What have successful sellers learned during a time when supply chain failures can threaten everything? What we now know is that businesses that had planned far ahead seemed best prepared for this June event, and planning far in advance may be necessary now. Shortly before Prime Day 2021, CNBC reported that more than 2/3 of the National Retail Federation's members said they had to add 2 to 3 weeks to their supply chains. Do your margins not allow for that added 3-week buffer? Then consider reevaluating your inventory and swapping pricier inventory for less expensive items. For example, toy manufacturers have been anticipating shortages for months. Take the time now to map out your timeline and a solid plan of action on how to deal with these potential shortages and adjust your inventory as needed. Our last tip is to consider reaching out to additional vendors for some of the more popular items, as well as finding alternative merchandise to pad your inventory. The holidays are ahead, so don't let global supply chain interruptions halt your business flow. Preparing now means being able to give yourself a chance to meet these challenges head on. And if all else fails, call the North Pole. Maybe Santa can help. That's all for this edition of the Deal News Seller's Guide. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe so you'll never miss a new one. And if you want to learn how you can turbocharge your marketplace revenue and gain access to the exclusive Deal News Traffic Network, head to advertise.dealnews.com or send an email to advertise@dealnews.com. Thanks for listening.